Hi, this is Dave Chenault with Skylight Systems, and in this video we're going to take a little bit of a different approach. And then I'm going to be taking a look at why did we choose SharePoint as a platform to build our solutions. And we're going to look at some of the capabilities that you get as a SharePoint app. So this is a little more of a technical overview of some of the capabilities that might not be apparent in some of our earlier videos. So if you're familiar with SharePoint or a little more technical in nature, I think this will be a very interesting video. If you're more of a business user, it's still a great video, but I may get a little more technical than some of the other videos in the past. So let's get started. The first thing to understand is that what we've done is we've built a solution in Sidekick 365 XRM that is an app hosted in SharePoint. And what that means is that these are actually SharePoint lists that are surfacing up through HTML, and we use JavaScript quite a bit to do a lot of things we're doing. So let's look at some capabilities we get. First off is that you have these drop-down arrows on all the headers, and it lets you do things like filter based on any of the values in that column. And you can also sort ascending and descending. So very powerful. Right out of the box you get some great filtering and sorting capabilities, and that's really just about any header you're going to see in any of these lists. So as I click through, you can see kind of what's going on, right? Now another nice thing is, since you're working on HTML and JavaScript, you can do a lot of things now that we couldn't do in the last versions. Here's a quick example. Look how when I click on this account, I can actually pop that screen here, and this is a fully functional screen. And you'll see how it'll move right through everything for me, and I just close that. So we have more than one window running at once, which is very nice. Some other nice things here is that I'm able to adjust my views. So if I come in here and just select, let's say, this particular item, and I'll take a look at the list, I can get right into that view and modify it. So if I come in here, I've got all my list settings, and if I wanted to add, let's say, the close date, I just select it and say OK. And you'll see now, it'll take a minute here, we'll get the close date now has appeared as a new column. And there are no close dates because these are still open. But you get the idea. So I can come in here and use all the list capabilities in SharePoint on that list and add and modify as I need to. So I'll go ahead and change that again back. And also another thing to take a look at is, if you see, I've got a lot of settings up there that we'll take a look at in just a minute. So just a second here, I'll take close date back off. Now I'll OK that. There's some interesting things that you kind of get through a back door here as well. Let's go into that, the three dots again. Let's go modify the view this way. And this is sort of a hidden door here, but when I click on settings, I can actually get into the settings for that list. And it'll let me do a lot of interesting things. Not everything's available, but I can do things like rights management, where I can turn on IRM to encrypt content. And I can do things like set permissions for the list. I can do a few other things, but there are a few broken links. Like if I click on this form settings, you see how that's broken. But a lot of this is available. So if I do IRM, I can turn that on and get it going, right? So this is, again, another great capability of why we chose SharePoint. You can also make columns required or not, etc., right in here if you need to. Okay, so that's pretty interesting, right? You can also do a lot of other things here. Let's go ahead and say we wanted to create a new view. And this is where it gets to be very popular and powerful. I can have a lot of new views here, and I can just create a new one as I would expect, right? I can make standard and data sheets, etc., whatever makes sense. And I can use SharePoint Designer if I need to as well, that kind of a thing. So there's a lot of power built into the platform that I can access from the apps. Okay? Now let's look at some other things in here. Let's go into accounts, for example. And now I have this a view here. Another very interesting thing is I can have the ability to search within a list, or I can search across the site. So if I want to type in here Sam's, because I see it right there, I'll just filter it down to that. And if I want to get rid of it, I just click here and I have them all again. Another nice thing is I've got integration built into Link. Out of the box, I'm using a company called NextUC that I really like for link to voice. So if I click here, what you'll see is I can get a click to dial capability just by clicking on that. And you can see here if I was to click that, it would dial that number for me in link. So all of these phone numbers I'm putting in the system are active. And I can then integrate this in with voice. And another thing I can do is when I have Outlook running and integrated in with NextUC, I can actually get my messages. I'm looking for them here, but there's a message folder on the left-hand side if I dig deep enough. And those messages can be saved right into my accounts or opportunities. So if I take a look, if there were any in here, I'm not sure if there are right now, but if I have phone calls coming in, coming out, so here we go, here's some phone calls I had outgoing. I could take a record of that call. Let's take a look at that one. Here's one I made to let's say an 866 number, right? And I can take that call record and I can save that call record up into XRM, right? So you'll see that now, and I'm going to take that record, I'm going to put it into the opportunity called Sam's Milkshakes, right? And I'm going to upload that. So now I can integrate in call records. When I make a phone call, I can take and put a record of that phone call into my account or opportunity. And if I have a message that comes in, I can save that message right into the account or opportunity as well. It's very powerful stuff. So I think that's an interesting addition you get when you start to put all the pieces together with Link, Office, and a lot of other capabilities that we have now. So let's go back and take a look again where we were. This is just kind of a fun video to walk around and see some different things. Also, there's other things we can do with the menus. You can look at workflows here. We have alerts. We have shared. I mean, it kind of goes on and on. But the idea is that I can kick off workflows here. I can have alerts set up so that if something changes, I can get alerts sent to us as well. Who gets it? How I get it alerted when anything changes on a particular item. How often it gets sent. So very powerful capability. And again, this is a SharePoint app. And this is, I hope you're starting to see why we picked SharePoint as the platform, because if we were to pick a different way of doing these apps, let's say we did it as an auto-hosted external app, or if we just did it as an iframe floating in SharePoint, we wouldn't get all these capabilities. So by working as a SharePoint hosted solution that we've architected around, we pick up all kinds of capabilities that we're going to be building in and around this application going forward. And again, we are able to use a lot of familiar development techniques that we knew from SharePoint, and then mixing it in with a client object model and JavaScript and HTML5 to build all these screens. So just a lot of very good capabilities. Last thing I wanted to show is just some of the freedom you get in the user interface. And I've shown this on some other videos, but things like this, you know, where we have a contact and we're able now to just click to see the information about that contact. That's HTML and JavaScript at work, and doing things that were very hard to do with InfoPath and some of the other things in SharePoint 2010. So I think that I've really hit the main points I wanted to get to, and that this model of developing SharePoint hosted apps on top of SharePoint and then releasing them to the marketplace like we've done gives us tremendous capabilities, tremendous power, and we're going to keep leveraging that going forward as we make enhancements to the product line we've just started down this path. But I hope that seeing this video, you understand that we're really just touching the tip of the iceberg, and that there is much more capability on these apps that we have yet to expose, and we will be doing so as we go forward. So again, a kind of a different video here. I wanted to just take you through some of the reasons why we picked SharePoint as our solution application platform, and go through some of the things you kind of get out of the box. There's much more coming, but that's enough for one video. Again, this is Dave Chenault. I'm with Skylight Systems, and that's SKYLITESYSTEMS.com. You can check out our website. If you have any questions, just email me at info@skylightsys.com. skylightsystems.com. Thanks again for your time.